I need to tell you about something that happened to me 5 nights ago. Something that shook me to my core. And I don't say that lightly. I built rockets, I pushed the boundaries of technology, I faced challenges that seemed impossible. But what happened to me that night was different. It wasn't a technical breakthrough, it was something far more profound. It was 1:30 in the morning. I was sitting in my office, alone in the dark. I should have been sleeping, but sleep felt impossible. My mind was racing, but not about work, not about the next project or the next deadline. I was thinking about life, about meaning, about whether any of this actually matters. You know what's strange? You can achieve everything the world tells you matters and still feel completely empty. You can build companies worth billions, you can innovate, you can change industries, and still lie awake at night wondering if there's any real purpose to it all. So I did something I rarely do. I prayed, not some rehearsed, formal prayer. Just raw, honest words spoken into the darkness of my empty office. God, if you're real, I need to know. I need something more than theories and philosophies. I need something real, because I'm exhausted. I'm tired of running, tired of achieving, tired of trying to fill this void inside me with the next accomplishment. I sat there in complete silence after that, and let me tell you, silence is terrifying when you're used to constant noise, constant stimulation, constant problem solving. In silence, you can't hide from yourself. You can't distract yourself with work or goals, or the next big thing. You just have to sit with who you really are, underneath all the achievements. And then something happened. I can't explain it in scientific terms. There was no voice, no vision, nothing I could measure or quantify, but something inside me shifted. It felt like a door I didn't even know existed, suddenly opened, and light poured into places that had been dark my entire life. I realized something profound. I've been asking the wrong questions my whole life. I've been asking, what more can I achieve? And how can I prove my worth? When the real question is, who am I when I'm not accomplishing anything? That question terrified me. Because my entire identity has been built on what I do, on my work, my achievements, my innovations. Take those away, and who am I? That's the question I've been running for my entire life. But in that moment of silence, I felt something I can only describe as God's presence. And it wasn't demanding. It wasn't asking me to achieve more or be better. It was simply saying, you are mine. You were mine before you built anything. You'll still be mine if it all disappears tomorrow. Your worth isn't in what you do, it's in who you are to me. I started crying. I don't cry. I'm an engineer. I solve problems. I don't break down emotionally. But there I was, alone in my office at 1:30 in the morning, crying because for the first time in my life, I felt truly seen, not for my accomplishments, not for my intelligence, not for what I built, but for who I am underneath all of that. The next morning, everything looked different, not because the world had changed, but because I had. The sunrise felt like a gift I'd never really noticed before. My work suddenly felt less like a desperate attempt to prove my worth, and more like an opportunity to serve something bigger than myself. I realized I'd been treating life like an engineering problem. If I input enough effort, optimize the right variables, I'll achieve the desired outcome, significance, meaning, satisfaction. But life doesn't work that way. You can't engineer your way into peace. You can't optimize your way into purpose. Here's what I'm learning, and it's harder than any technical challenge I've faced. God doesn't need my success. He doesn't need me to colonize Mars, or revolutionize transportation, to validate his existence. Those things might be part of my journey, but they're not what makes me valuable to him. I'm valuable simply because he made me. That's it. Not because of what I might accomplish tomorrow, but because of who I am today. Even on my worst day, even in my biggest failure, even when I've contributed nothing to the world, I'm still valuable to God. That's a revolutionary concept for someone like me. My entire sense of worth has been tied to productivity, to innovation, to pushing boundaries, and breaking barriers. But God is teaching me something different. He's teaching me to simply be, to be still, to be present, to be His. And prayer has become completely different for me now. It used to be transactional. God help me solve this problem. God bless this project. God give me the breakthrough I need. But now prayer is about relationship. It's about sitting in silence and acknowledging that I'm connected to something infinitely bigger than myself. It's about surrendering the illusion that I'm in control of everything. And let me tell you, control is exhausting. Trying to manage every variable, predict every outcome, prevent every possible failure, it's a prison. Faith is about trusting that even when things fall apart, even when I fail, even when nothing makes sense, there's a purpose I can't see yet. I've failed more times than I've succeeded. Every entrepreneur has. Every innovator knows the sting of failure. But I used to see failure as something to overcome quickly, to learn from and move past. Now I'm starting to see it differently. Maybe every failure is God's way of redirecting me. Maybe every closed door was protecting me from a path that would have led me away from who I'm meant to become. Maybe every setback was actually setting me up for something better that I couldn't have imagined on my own. This doesn't mean I stop working hard. It doesn't mean I stop pursuing ambitious goals. But it means I hold those goals differently now. They're not my identity. They're not the source of my value. They're just part of the journey of becoming who God created me to be. I think many of us are absolutely terrified of silence and stillness. We're afraid of what we'll discover if we stop long enough to listen. We're afraid we'll realize we're not as strong or as certain or as put together as we pretend to be. But that vulnerability, that honesty, that's exactly where we meet God. Not the God we've constructed in our minds to make us comfortable, but the real God who sees every broken part of us, every failure, every doubt, every fear, and loves us anyway. Not despite our brokenness, but with full knowledge of it. I'm sharing this with you because I know I'm not the only one who's been running. I know there are people watching this right now who are exhausted. Exhausted from trying to prove themselves. Exhausted from trying to earn love they've already been given. Exhausted from trying to fill a void that only God can fill. You don't have to have everything figured out. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to achieve one more thing to be worthy of love and peace and purpose. You just have to be willing to stop running long enough to hear what's been calling to you all along. God isn't waiting for you to become successful enough, or spiritual enough, or good enough to accept you. He's already accepting you. He's been present in every single moment of your life. In every failure and every success, in every question and every doubt, in every moment of despair and every moment of joy. You just have to stop long enough to notice. So here's what I'm challenging myself to do, and I'm inviting you to join me in this. Find silence today, even just 10 minutes. Turn off your phone, step away from your computer, remove yourself from all the noise and distraction, and just sit in stillness. Ask God the questions you've been avoiding. Tell Him about the fears you haven't told anyone else. Be honest about the things you're running from. Be vulnerable about the emptiness you're trying to fill with achievement or relationships or whatever your drug of choice is. You might not get dramatic answers. You might not hear an audible voice or see a vision. But I promise you this, if you create space for God, He will fill it. Not always in the way you expect or want, but in the way you actually need. Life is too short to spend it running from the one thing that could give us real peace. Too short to build empires while neglecting our souls. Too short to achieve everything externally while experiencing nothing internally. I don't know where you are in your faith journey right now. Maybe you're a lifelong believer who's lost your way somewhere along the path. Maybe you've never believed in anything beyond what you can see and measure and prove. Maybe you're somewhere in between, searching desperately for something real in a world full of noise and distraction. Wherever you are, I want you to know this: God is not far from you. He's not distant. He's not waiting for you to get your life together or figure everything out or become a better person. He's right here, right now, in this very moment, waiting for you to simply turn toward Him. That's all it takes. Not perfection, not a complete transformation, not having all the answers, just a willingness to stop running and start listening. Just a willingness to be honest about your brokenness instead of hiding behind your achievements. Thank you for letting me share this with you. I know it's vulnerable. I know it's not what you'd expect from someone like me, but it's real. And sometimes the most important things we can share are the things that make us most vulnerable. I hope this helps you the way that night of silence helped me. Peace be with you, wherever you are on your journey. If this story made you think about the power of silence in your own life, let me know in the comments. Have you ever tried just sitting quietly and listening for something deeper?